Hello and welcome to another episode of Success Coaching for a Better World. We've got a great subject for you tonight. My name is Manny Nowak, and as always, you know it's my pleasure to have you. Tonight's subject is vendor selection. What's your track record like? And I'd like to start tonight with three very simple scenarios, and let's see if any of them are something that you've dealt with. Can you believe that company sold me so much more than I needed? And come to find out, their price totally out of line in comparison to everyone else. I am a little unhappy. Can you bet? The salesman came across smooth. But you know what? I really got nothing compared to what they said I was going to get. How about this one? The vendor is worthless. He made all these promises and all these things they were going to do and how they were going to help me and how they were going to do this. And then when all's said and done, they took my money and they delivered very little. Great sales effort and a bunch of fluff in the end. One more. What happened to the vendor? I can't find him. I've looked all over. Where is she? They made all these impressive offers. They made all these impressive promises. They said all this stuff they could do for me. And now they didn't get back to me when I needed an answer. And they just disappeared. The only positive? At least I didn't pay them everything. Any of that sound familiar to you out there? How do you select the right vendors? How do you select the right people for your team? How do you get the people that are going to help you? How do you make that important decision? How's your success rate been in the past? Do you need some help? This is a critical subject, and that's why I want to spend some time there today, because finding the right vendors will be tremendous for your business. Many vendors out there who, they do really care. They really want to be part of your team. They want to help you be successful. And they want to build a long-term relationship with you. So how do you find them? How do you create that win-win for all? How do you create that situation I've seen out there so many times where people are working together 10, 20, 30 years and more? How do you create that? Well, honesty, of course, is the first three. So let's look at 5 areas today because, again, as I always say, we look at 5, 7, 10. We never can look at the whole thing, but just these 5 areas. We'll start with comparative pricing. I always like to ask, how does their price compare to everyone else in the business? Is it higher, lower, middle? But more importantly, why is your price different? I always love to ask that. Why is your price different? Because that tells the story. It could be low for a reason or high for a reason, but there's got to be a reason. And that's what you need to find out. Expectations, and most of you who've worked with me know that this is so important to me. Understand what the expectations are. Many times we think we're smart. We think we know how to put the deal together. But we don't. We don't really understand clearly what we're going to get. And if you don't clearly understand what you're going to get, how are you going to know whether you got it? And yes, I know that sounds so simple. But let's put it in writing. Let's get a clear expectation of, this is what I expect. References, of course, vendor references. References are great. I can give you plenty of people who will give me a great story. But I ask a vendor, tell me some of the places where it didn't work. Tell me some stories about how it didn't work. Because the worst thing that can happen is they can turn around and say, well, it was all their fault and they did this and they did that. And what happens? They're going to be saying that about me in 6 months? You have to take some blame, because when it doesn't work, it always is both people's fault. That's just life. So I want to see how they handle that, and I want to see how they share that information, because again, it brings out that honesty. Customer service, I ask this question. of all my vendors. In your opinion, what's good customer service? Let them define it for you. What is their policy? And I don't mean the written stuff that's written down somewhere. What's their policy? If I need an answer, if I call up, can the person that I talk to give me what I need? Or am I going to have to go through 5 levels? Can I find you if I need you? Who's going to make sure I get the answer that I need? Ask the questions up front. If I'm not happy, how do I get help? And finally, client retention and reputation. What are they going to do to keep me as a customer? What are they going to do to keep me as a customer? What's their history? We all go on the honeymoon, don't we? It's all great to be a prospect. People want to sell you. Finally, they do sell you. You're doing business together. You're in love and you're doing business together. And what happens? Do they start ignoring you? How do they treat me? And I know people say that, Manny, that's a bunch of fluff. It isn't. I always want to be treated like that prospect. Your vendors are your team, especially in a small company. And you can consider them an extension of your staff even. Spend time, effort, and energy getting the best people to be part of your organization. However, remember this, if they're not working out, make them step up or step out. If you need some help, call me, Manny Nowak, 856-358-4021. 856-358-4021. On the web at mannynowak.com. MANNYNOWAK. mannynowak.com. MANNYNOWAK. Manny at mannynowak.com if you want to email me. I will get back with you if you email me. I love to hear from you. Find those vendors this week. They will make a difference. This is Manny Nowak, Success Coaching for a Better World.